Talking Shirts is presented in partnership with White Oak Cottage. For more information, visit whiteoakcottage.co.uk.
Hello and welcome to episode number 101 of Talking Shirts. I'm Mike from Hull KR Shirts, and today we're going to take a look at this 2007 home shirt. Now, I've covered the 2007 home shirt in the past, but I've not covered this one because this one here was worn by Paul Cooke. Now, everybody in the rugby league community should know who Paul Cooke is, and everybody should know the story about the 2007 season, how he left Hull FC to join arch rivals across the river, Hull KR, in what was quite a, controversial story. Now, this shirt here was the one that he wore during his debut season with the Robins, and we will focus a little bit on Paul and his story and a little bit about that cross-city move later on. But first of all, let's take a tour around the shirt. So the shirt, when we've spoken about these 2007 shirts in the past, every single one that I've got in my collection was actually made from a junior kit. So whether that be a large boys or an extra large boys, these kits was made into the plain ones. Now this one here is actually a size medium. Now I don't know if it's got anything to do with the fact that it was actually introduced part way through the season, because this wasn't a shirt that was issued to Paul at the start of the season, because obviously at that point he wasn't actually with the club. So it could quite possibly be something to do with that, but this one is actually a size medium. So I found that quite interesting straight off the bat. So the shirt itself, it's an all red affair with a very, very broad blue band going through the middle. It was a throwback all the way to sort of the start of Hull Kingston Rovers in the late 1800s, and also from the famous 1983-85 dual campaign, where we was very successful during that mid-80s campaign. So, as you can see with the shirt, we've got quite a lot of different sponsors going on here. Lloyd's TSB is probably the one that features most prominently, as it is the main front of shirt sponsor, but it is also the collar sponsor as well, and it does actually feature on the back. We've got Parasol, we've got the Carlotti maker marker that has been embroidered into the shirt, as well as the Hull Kingston Rovers Club crest, and it also has the addition of Pride of East Hull going around the crest on the 2007 home shirt. We've got some white piping that breaks up between the difference between the red and the blue. Really, really small touch, but a lovely addition, as is the additional piping going down the side of the body of the shirt. We've got quite a thick piece going down the side, and then just a little bit further on, which I will show you some pictures of closer up, we do have a thin layer of piping going around there as well. Lloyd's TSB, that has been heat applied to the front there, which could say that it was a late addition at this point in time, because quite a lot of the sponsors were embroidered back then. Obviously the change from National League 1 into Super League could have thrown up some sponsorship issues for the club at the time, because the value of those sponsorships will have changed quite dramatically. So that could have been something to do with that, because in the 2008 season, Lloyd's TSB was embroidered. We've got some reinforced stitching in the neckline here. This is probably one of the best shirts for reinforced stitching in the neck, in my opinion. You can really see these kind of layers of embroidery, which are kind of just reinforcing the quality of the neckline to ensure that it doesn't rip. And I will pop some pictures up of the inside, because there's a lovely blue triangle on the inside as well, which really does differentiate from the fabric that is being used within the main body of the shirt. And the collar up here has actually been stitched down. So again, we don't see too much of a turnover collar these days. I keep praying that one day we might just do it as a one-off. But in 2007, it featured across both the home and the away shirts, and these were stitched down, just probably for comfort for the player, but also just to stop the opposition player getting that little bit of extra leverage when it comes to grapple techniques. As we take a look at the sleeve here, we will just look at one of these purely because they are both the same. And we have got the Parasol branding. Again, this features on the front of the shirt, but now it features in its more natural colourway on the sleeve via a heat applied patch. And then we have got the Engage Super League competition patches. These are made from that felt material that I've told you about before. So they're really, really nice to touch. And when you kind of look at these, you can see a little bit of wear, and there is some sort of game damage here at the bottom, where you can see where there has been sort of maybe some paint or something that's come off the pitch, which has then left a remnant on the shirt, which for me is absolutely wonderful. The sleeves are white, and then we have got this rare navy piping, rare navy piping going down the sides on both of these here. And again, that just breaks up the clunkiness and the bulkiness of that white sleeve. Okay, so that's the front and the sides. We will have a look at the back of the shirt and also talk quite a bit about Paul Cooke. But before we do, here is a quick word from our sponsor.
White Oak Cottage is a 2-bedroom luxury holiday cottage set in the stunning Lincolnshire Wolds. It has 2 ensuite bedrooms, a hot tub, wood burner, Wi-Fi, electric vehicle charger, and is pet friendly. It is ideally situated in the Wolds, yet only 15 miles from the coast and 25 miles from the historic city of Lincoln. For more information, visit whiteoakcottage.co.uk.
And welcome back to episodes number 101 of Talking Shirts. Before the break, we was taking a tour around Paul Cooke's 2007 home shirt, and I am back now with the reverse. So as you can see, we have turned this round. So the red back basically continues. There is no blue detailing going on to the back body of the shirt, as we obviously have the band on the front. That is just one sort of side of the shirt. It doesn't actually feature across the back, as you can see here. It is a plain back. There's quite a lot of restrictions in place with regards to the design of the back of a shirt. So a lot of clubs now just decide to keep that free just to save a little bit of confusion and a little bit of hassle. We've got the Lloyd's TSB branding. Again, that featured on the front and on the collar. It also features on the back. It was very prominent during our 2007 season. As you can see here, we have no sort of back of shirt rear sponsor. At this stage, these hadn't quite been introduced to the club at Super League level. And the reverse of the turnover collar here, you can see we have got the words Hull KR, which have been embroidered into the design of the collar, which is really nice. Just a nice little touch there, obviously with the name of the club being in the back. We've had it in previous occasions where the name of the club would feature across the back of the top of the shirt. We've seen it might say Rovers or Robins or something to that effect in sort of modern day times. But yeah, it's nice to be able to kind of have that element of the club name being visible from the back of the shirt. As you can see, Cooke and 31 have been heat applied to the back of the shirt. Paul obviously was given quite a high squad number due to the fact that he joined partway through the 2007 season. A lot of controversy surrounded his move to East Hull, and something where, even though you can read a lot about it in Paul's book, actually, that's probably a good place for me to send you. Paul released a book called Judas during 2019, I believe it was. I would really recommend reading that if you haven't, whether you support Hull KR, Hull FC or any other rugby club. I think it's really important that you do actually give that a good read, because I feel like it's probably one of the best rugby autobiographies out there. But anyway, Paul joined partway through that 2007 season, which obviously meant he was given quite a high squad number. Paul would make his debut against Huddersfield on the 27th of April. That was obviously his first game for the club, with it's been his debut. His second game for the club was against his former employers, Hull FC, at the Magic Weekend. Now, at that point, Paul was probably quite pleased that he didn't have to go straight into a KCOM derby, or the KC Stadium derby, or the MKM Stadium derby, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, back then it will have been the KC Stadium. So yeah, having that opportunity to face his former employers so soon would have been quite interesting, to say the least. I've done a little bit of research on this one, and I must thank Tracy Dixon, because her one of their website pages where she stores a lot of her photos has come in really, really, really handy for me, and sort of photo matching some of my shirts. So some of the pictures that I'm able to pop up now are courtesy of Tracy. So thank you very much for that, Tracy. I really appreciate you having that public information accessible, because obviously if it wasn't, I probably wouldn't have been able to photo match this one so easy. Now, I've been able to pinpoint it down to sort of 5 or 6 different games, which is really, really good, just through a quick search. Now, a couple of games that are probably the most interesting is that this shirt was won by Paul against Hull FC at Craven Park. On that day, he did come out on the losing side. However, this shirt was also worn in the 42-6 game at the KC Stadium in September of 2007. So this is probably the most iconic game that this shirt could have been worn in, when you think about the shirt that it is, in the sense of that being Paul's debut season. That was probably the biggest game that the club played in, that they won during that 2007 season. So for me to be able to have pinpointed this shirt to that game is something that I'm incredibly, incredibly proud of. This is a recent addition into my collection. This came from a gentleman that reached out on social media asking if it was something that I was interested in. it's really good that I've been able to develop a sort of network now where I've got a social media page where people will read and sort of see pictures and things, but they'll also get in touch and they'll ask questions about things that maybe they have or they want to know or they've got. But then again, people always do message and say, would you be interested in this before I make it available sort of to the wider market? So that's a privilege for me to be able to have that access, that people will actually come to me and offer me things. So again, thank you very much for that. And if anybody does have anything and you've got any questions, obviously my social media inboxes are always open. So please feel free to reach out and ask any questions or let me know what you've got. I find that really good resource for the page, shall we say. Yeah, that's kind of your tour around this 2007 home shirt. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. 101. Wow, I can't quite believe it. I've been doing this for 4 years now. It's amazing the amount of feedback that I still get about how people enjoy watching the episodes. I know it's a really small sort of audience base, and I think I'd be quite happy doing it for an audience of one. And if that was just the enjoyment that I get out of making these and editing these. But to know that there's people out there that do enjoy watching them as well, that's really, really good for me to know. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this episode. 101, that's done. On to 102. So come back in a couple of weeks' time. I'll be back with episode 102. And yes, I'll see you then. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.